Good morning. It is morning. Now, good afternoon, good evening. If you're watching this video later, today's topic is when you have no control. I'm Sandra with Ever Changing Life. I am an energy movement facilitator, and my main focus is helping to get you back on track, back to life when you have been stuck. Mainly after painful transitions like death or a job loss or a career change or even empty nest. Sometimes we have trouble just moving forward. Death is a great loss, but a greater loss is when life dies inside you while you are still alive. And that's what I'm trying to help people get over, that life has died inside them. This is a great life and we need to learn how to live it. So our topic today is when you feel like you have no control. And it's feeling to me like I have less and less control. In fact, today I am actually a few minutes late getting started, and I was ready to go, and then other things took over, and my brain is a little scattered. And I'm finding that more and more these days. It takes me much longer to focus. Now, I was with a friend on the weekend, and she said, hey, let's do something this weekend. Like, I'm tired of being stuck in the house. Things are starting to open now, or things are open now. Let's go do something. Well, she searched for 2 days, could not find anything to do. Her level of frustration was really, really high. Now, things are supposed to be opening up, but even though they're opening up, we're still not able to do many things. The theaters are open, but there was absolutely nothing we would go see there. And everything required walking that we could do. And she injured herself a few months ago. Well, right before COVID, actually, March 2nd. And she has not fully recovered yet. So she is still in need of therapy, and she's not walking very well. So we needed to limit our activity to do something that was not requiring walking. It was a very frustrating time for her. We ended up going out for supper, which too was a unique experience because we went to Red Lobster, and usually you can just walk in. You can't anymore. You need reservations. And that's happening more and more everywhere. Places that didn't require reservations are now requiring them. And she said we were extremely lucky to get in. There were only 2 available seats left, and we ended up going later than we wanted to as well. So her level of frustration is really, really high because it feels like she has no control. It feels like everything that she wants to do is gone. It's just gone. We're struggling now to find our new normal. And, you know, new normal is such a weird phrase because our normal is constantly shifting. So it's just because this has been such a large event and it has affected us in the most basic of ways that we are searching so desperately for the new normal. But today we're talking about feeling like we have no control. One is nothing to do. There's very little out there that we can do. We can go shopping, but do we really need to be buying more stuff that we need to look after? That's a quick fix, which doesn't last very long. We can go out to eat, but do we really need to do that either? The going out and socializing is great, as long as you keep it to small groups. But even that, I met a person the other day, and my natural instinct is to reach my hand out to shake their hand. And I had to pull back, and that felt weird too. It's like, oh my goodness, everything is so intense. We have to watch every single move. And that's getting so frustrating for people and making them feel like they have no control. There's more traffic now because people are getting out of their house because they're so frustrated with staying inside, and there's more anger. You can see it. The light changes and there's instant horn honking because people want you to get moving. They're tense. They're electrified. They want to get moving. And I'm seeing that more and more as I go out. And I'm also seeing people be more distracted because they are so tense, especially when they have to slow down. In fact, I was sitting at a light the other day, and it was actually at a light, not a stop sign. And I was the first in line, and the traffic had all cleared. And I looked and I went, oh, there's no traffic. And I took my foot off the brake and my car started to move. And I looked up and saw the red light and went, oh, I need to stop. So I don't know if that's happened to you, but distraction is a huge thing. Even wandering around a store, you are doing your business, you're trying to stay in your own lane, you're trying to stay in your own space, and you're looking around so to make sure that nobody is too close. There's all kinds of things that are distracting us right now as well. And it's another thing that's really been bugging me that I've noticed is inconsistency. There is a ton of inconsistency happening. One store you go into, they say, oh yeah, you don't have to wear masks. Another store, someone meets you at the door as you're pulling it open and says, you don't have a mask on. I've seen people turned away because they don't have a mask. So it's really difficult to know what we are supposed to be doing right now. And we just need to bear with it. It's not going to last forever. In the meantime, here's a few things you can do. So this is not just a bitch session. We need some strategies to calm down. Even talking about this, I've noticed how it has increased my negative energy in a way I don't like. So first and foremost, I am a tapper. I tap. So my first recommendation is number one, breathe. Take a breath, which is sometimes hard to do when we're wearing a mask. Try it anyway. Take a breath. We need to slow down our breathing. We need to breathe deep. We need to fill our lungs with air. And hold it for a second. Even to the count of 5 if you can. And then let it out. That will help slow the crazy down. Tapping is a great way to do that. And you can do it even if you're out. Tap on your wrist right where it bends. And that will help calm your fight, flight, and freeze center. Remember to breathe. Tapping is a great way to calm down. So there's a couple of things that are going on here. One is the fear and anxiety. And the second is not knowing or understanding what our values are. Our core values are being absconded with. Losing words today too. One of my core values is freedom. I really value freedom. And it feels like my freedom has been taken away. I now have to watch everything I do. I have to think all the time about the things that I used to just take for granted. I used to take for granted hopping into my vehicle and going to the grocery store. Now I need to make sure I have my sanitizer, my gloves, my mask. I need to make sure that I'm feeling fine. I have to think constantly about my state of being, and it's frustrating. And when I walk into the store, it feels like my freedom of movement has been restricted. And it has. So for me, that makes it even worse. So you really need to make sure you know what your values are and that you know why you're upset. Because knowing why you're upset can go a long way to alleviating being upset. Oftentimes we'll get angry or frustrated and we don't know why. We're just angry and frustrated. For me, like I said, freedom is one of my core values. So I recognize that's why I'm frustrated. And I remind myself, okay, that's why you're frustrated. This is not going to last forever. That helps to calm me down. So pay attention to why you're frustrated. And I think we also feel like we don't have any options, that our choice, another core value for me is choice. And that's why I live where I live. I grew up in a small town. And when I moved to a small town, even though the next small town was way closer to the larger towns, which was wonderful for me because I love choice. So when I moved to Edmonton, when I moved to the bigger city, I was so ecstatic because I now had choice. I had more than one Canadian Tire. I had more than one superstore. I had more than one place to shop. I had choice about where I could go, what I could get, and what I could do. And that's one of the great things about living in the city. But now that we are in this pandemic, it feels like our choices are taken away. Now, even though we may not have as many choices to do the things we want to do, which is how I started this, it really is important to recognize that even though some of our choices have been removed for the time being, and we don't know how long, we still have choice. We have choice to be upset. We choose whether or not we're going to get upset about something. We choose whether or not we're going to learn how to do things differently. We choose whether or not we are going to take this the easy way or fight against it and make it the hard way. We choose all kinds of things every single day. And we need to remember that even if we have choices that we don't like, we still have the choice. You can choose not to wear a mask and risk being fined or risk having your entry into a business denied. You can choose to fight against what's happening, or you can choose to change how you do things and be calmer about it. We have a choice in every single thing we do, and we need to remember that. So on that note, I'm going to choose to end this here and hope that you've had a wonderful time with me. I really enjoy the time I get to spend with you. Death is a great loss, but a greater loss is when life dies inside you while you are still alive. And that seems to be happening more and more these days with what's been going on in the world. So take chances, tell the truth, learn to say no, laugh until your stomach hurts, dance even if you're bad at it, pose stupidly for those photos, be childlike and love like it is the first time. And remember, even though it feels like you have no control, you have more control than you think. I am Sandra with Ever Changing Life, clearing energy clutter, mind, body, soul, and home. And I hope you have the best day. Thanks for joining me.